Okay, so this is a recording about using system of equations to solve story problems. Okay guys, in this video you're going to use systems of equations to solve stories. Okay guys, in this video we're going to use systems of equations to solve story problems. In our first example, the sum of two numbers is 158. Their difference is 32. Find the numbers. So we are going to take, we first have to come up with two variables. Here's our first example. The sum of two numbers is 158. Their difference is 132. Find the numbers. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to decide on your variables that you're going to use. And I'm going to be really creative, and I'm going to use x and y as my variables. So x equals the first number, and y represents the second number. You have to define your variables for me. I need to know what your variables represent so I can make sure your equations make sense. Now it says here that the sum of the two numbers is 158. And sum means addition, so we're going to take our two numbers x and y, add them together, and it equals 158. My second sentence says their difference is 32. Difference means subtraction, and in this case, because I didn't say which one was the bigger number, it doesn't really matter. I can go ahead and subtract in any order. So I'm going to say x minus y means equals 32. Okay, now I'm going to solve this system using elimination, because if you notice right here, my y and my negative y, when I add these two equations together, are going to cancel out. So I'm going to go ahead and add these together, and I have 1x and 1x. If I add those together, I get 2x. My y's are going to cancel out, and 158 plus 32 is 190. Then I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2, and x equals 95. Okay, so I found my first number. Now I need to take that and remember we substitute it back into one of our equations for x and figure out what y is. So I'm going to go 95 plus y equals 158. Subtract 95. So I get y equal, subtract 95. Sorry about that. Fix that. So I get y equals 63. And then remember, because I'm mean, I'm going to make you write a sentence at the end. So the numbers are 95 and 63. Now if I were you, I would make sure they make sense before you say, oh yeah, that's the answer. So 95 plus 63. 95 plus 63 is 158. So their sum is 158, and their difference, 95 minus 63, is 32. So we did it. There's our answer. Okay, our next slide. One number is 4 more than 3 times another. If you add the two numbers, the result is 96. Find the smaller number. Okay, so first of all, we have two things that we don't know. They're two numbers. So I'm going to let my variables, I'll use a and let's use m and n. So m equals the first number, and n equals the second number. So I've defined my variables, so when I make my equations, you guys understand what they mean. So it says one number is 4 more than 3 times another. So I'm going to take one number, m, is, right there, means equals 4 more than, so we do 4 more than means plus, 3 times another. So 3 times, we multiply by 3. Another would be another number. That would be 3n. So let's read this again. Let's just make sure our sentence makes sense. One number, m, is equals 4 more than 3 times 3 another times n. Good, I think we did it. Okay, now my second equation says if you add the two numbers, the result is 96. So if I have to add the two numbers, so m plus n, the result, that would be equals 96. Now we need to solve this. I'm going to use straight up substitution because look, m equals this. Since m is already by itself, I can just take that and substitute it into my other equation for m. So we're going to have 4 plus 3n plus n equals 96. Now we solve this, so we combine like terms, so we have 4 plus 4n equals 96. Subtract our 4. So we have 4n equals 92. And divide by 4. So n is 23. Now I need to figure out what m is, so I'm going to take what n equals and I'm going to substitute it in for n right here. So we have m equals 4 plus 3 times 23. So m equals 4 plus 69, which is 73. And then your last step, you have to write a sentence. The numbers are, oh no, wait, I want to make sure I answer the question. It says find the smaller number. So which is smaller, 23 or 73? 23. So the smaller number is 23. There we go. Solved. Okay, our next example. The perimeter of a rectangle is 34 feet. The length is 4 less than twice the width. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. So first of all, here's my rectangle. And I'm going to say that this is W and this is L. So W equals my width. And L, I'm going to use a cursive L, is my length. You could use X and Y, I don't care. I'm just using W and L because they make sense for this problem. Now you have to remember the formula for perimeter, guys. The formula for perimeter is P equals 2L plus 2W. Let's remember why. Look back over here at your rectangle. This is W, oops, and this is L. So I have L plus L is 2L, and then W plus W is 2W. So that's where this whole perimeter equation comes from, and that's just something to remember. So I'm just going to box this in over here. We need to remember that. We add up all the sides. That's what perimeter is. It's the distance around this rectangle. So we add them all up. Okay, so my first equation is always going to come from this perimeter equation because they always tell me the perimeter. Look, the perimeter is 34. So guess what? I'm going to say 34 equals 2L plus 2W. I don't know what the length and width are. That's what I'm trying to find. That's what it means right here when it says find the dimensions. That's what they're asking for, the length and the width. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I have to use the second sentence. The length is 4 less than twice the width. Let me do that in pink. The length is 4 less than twice the width. So length is 4 less than. So that means you have to take 4 away from something. Twice the width. So I have to do twice the width. And I have to do 4 less than that. So I have to take this value, twice the width, and I have to do 4 less than that. So I have to take 4 away from it. Now, I'm good to go. I've got my 2 equations. I'm going to solve this one by substitution because L is by itself. So I'm going to take what L equals, and I'm going to plug it right in there for L. So I'm going to work over here. I have 34 equals 2 times 2W minus 4 plus 2W. So just as a reminder, I took this, since L equals this, I took this and plugged it in for L into my other equation. So now I've got this one long equation with one variable. Now you're going to solve it. So you're going to do the distributive property. 34 equals 4W minus 8 plus 2W. 34 equals, combine your like terms, 6W minus 8. Add 8. So I have 6W equals 42. And then divide by 6. So I found that W equals 7. And I'm not done because I still need to find the length. I'm going to take our width, W, and I'm going to plug it right here and figure out what the length is. So L equals, I'm going to substitute 2 times 7 minus 4. So L equals 14 minus 4. L equals 10. Now we have our width and our length. Our width is 7, our length is 10. We're going to go ahead and write our sentence because we found it. And then we're going to just double check it, okay? But I'll write my sentence first. Remember to include units. The width is 7 feet. And the length is 10 feet. Okay, I just want to double check this. So in my rectangle, I'm going to draw my rectangle again here. This would be 7, this would be 7, this would be 10, this would be 10. So I have 7 plus 7 is 14 plus 10 plus 10 is 20. Oops. Is 20. So my perimeter is 34, which is what it said in my problem. So that's good. And then if I take 7, double it, or times it by 2, that's 14, and subtract 4, because it's 4 less than, 14 minus 4 is 10. So I'm good. This over here, I know this is getting kind of crowded, but this over here was kind of my check. Okay? Okay guys, our next example looks scary because it's long. Oh my gosh, there's words. It's okay, we can do this. Your school committee is planning an after-school trip for 193 people to a competition at another school. There are 8 drivers available in 2 types of vehicles, school buses and minivans. The school buses seat 51 people each, and the minivans seat 8 people each. How many buses and minivans will be needed? So look guys, here's the question. How many buses and minivans will be needed? So that's what I need to find. So that's my starting point. M equals the number of minivans. And B equals the number of buses. And I apologize if my B's look like 6's, but I want to use variables that make sense for the situation to make it easier. Okay, so we've got some important information here. We've got 193 people, that's important. There's 8 drivers, so that means we can only take 8 vehicles. Okay, and we've got 51 people on a bus and 8 people in each minivan. And I'm thinking that that's 8 people besides the driver, and it's 193 people besides the driver. That's how I'm assuming this problem goes. Okay, so we have minivans and buses, okay, and we've got 8 vehicles total. So does it make sense that the number of minivans plus the number of buses equals 8? There's my first equation, because we have to talk about how many total vehicles we have. Minivans and buses equals 8 total vehicles, because we only have 8 drivers, so that's all we can take. Now it says buses seat 51 people, and minivans seat 8 people, and we have to take 193 people. So now we're going to talk about the total number of people. Here we go. We've got 51 on a bus, plus we get 8 on each minivan, equals a total number of people of 193. Now, how are we going to solve this? At school, I'm going to let you solve this on the calculator. But at home, if you don't have a calculator, we have to solve it another way. So I'm going to take, I'll take the top equation and get one of my variables by itself, because I have an m and a b, and I can go ahead and get one of them by itself. So I'll get m by itself. So I'll rewrite the top equation here, m plus b equals 8, and I'll subtract b so I can get m by itself. M equals 8 minus b. Now you have to take what m equals and you need to plug it into the other equation for m. So we have 8 times 8 minus b plus 51b equals 193. Don't know if I'll be able to do this math in my head. We'll try to figure it out. Okay, so we have 64 minus 8b plus 51b equals 193. Now I'm going to add my b's together. So 51 minus 8, because that's really what I'm doing, negative 8 plus 51 is 43, I believe. 43b equals 193. Subtract 64. So I have 43b equals, let me see, that's 9, 1, 29. Divide by 43. So B is 3. So it looks like we're taking 3 buses, and then our M equals 8 minus 3, and 5 minivans. Okay, so the answer is we need 3 buses, and 5 minivans. Okay, I'm not comfortable until we check that. So, and I ran out of room on the other slide, so I just want to make sure we're good. We have 8 drivers, so 3 plus 5 equals the 8 drivers that we have accounted for. Now I get 51 people per bus, so 51 times 3 is 3, that's 153. Then I get 8 per minivan, so 8 times 5 is 40. So 153 plus 40 is 193. So we're going to get the right amount of people. Everyone can get to the trip. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so this is my check for the previous problem. Last example here. A farmer grows only sunflowers and flax on his 240-acre farm. This year he wants to plant 80 more acres of sunflowers than flax. How many acres of each crop does the farmer need to plant? Here's our question. How many acres of each crop does the farmer need to plant? So I'm going to do, I'm going to use X and Y. X equals sunflowers. The only reason I'm going to do that is because my S's look so much like 5s, it's horrible. And Y equals flax. Okay, so he's got 240 acres. He's got 80 more acres of sunflowers than flax. Okay. So, Here we go. He's got 240 acres. Some are sunflower, some are flax. So his sunflower plus his flax equals 240 acres. Okay. Then he wants to plant 80 more acres of sunflower than flax. So his sunflowers, oops, we're not using S because I can't use S's. His sunflowers are going to be his flax plus 80. Because we want his sunflowers to be 80 more than his flax. Here's his flax plus 80 will equal his sunflowers. Here I'm going to use substitution. So I'm going to take y plus 80 and plug it in for x in my top equation. So I'm going to have y plus 80 plus y equals 240. So 2y plus 80 equals 240. And then subtract 80. Oops, 240. Subtract 80. We get 2y equals 160. And divide by 2. So y equals 80. And then x, I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it right there. So x equals 80 plus 80, which is 160. So let's check. Well, I'm going to write my sentence first. Here's my sentence. He will grow, or he will plant, I guess, 160 acres of sunflower and 80, let me erase that, that's messy. There we go. 80 acres of flax. Okay. Now let's just double check. Is he growing 80 more acres of sunflower if he's got 160 acres of sunflower and 80 acres of flax? Yep, 160 is 80 more than flax. Do his two crops add up to 240? 160 plus 80 is 240. So we made it right for the story problem. Okay, we'll talk to you next time.